Harriet Tubman, a true leader born enslaved in Dorchester County, Maryland, in March of 1822, was an American abolitionist and social activist. Tubman escaped and later made some 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 slaves, including family and friends. Using a network of anti slavery activists, churches, and safe houses known as the Underground Railroad, in 1849, Tubman became ill, and when the slave master died, his widow began selling the family slaves, which would break up Harriet's family. Harriet said that there was one of two things she had the right to: liberty or death. If I could not have one, I would have the other. In 1849, Harriet escaped to Philadelphia. After reaching Philadelphia, Harriet thought of her family. She later said, "I am free, and they should be too." Harriet returned to Maryland to rescue her family soon after. Slowly, one group at a time, she brought relatives with her out of Maryland and eventually guided dozens of other slaves to freedom. In 1850, Harriet was warned that her niece, Keziah, and her two children would soon be sold in Maryland. So Harriet devised a plan to rescue her niece and two children. A free black man named John Bowley, who was also Keziah's husband, made the winning bid for his wife. Then, while the auctioneer stepped away for lunch, John, Keziah, and their children escaped to a nearby safe house, and when night fell, Bowley sailed the family to Baltimore, where they met with Tubman, who brought the family to Philadelphia. Keziah Bowley was a daughter of Harriet Tubman's older sister, Lena Ross. Keziah and John Bowley had 9 children, and one of their sons was named Harkless Bowley. Harkless Bowley and his wife had a son named Webster Clark Bowley. Webster and his wife, Eppie, had 2 children, a son named Woodard Bowley and a daughter named Eleanor Bowley. Yes, our very own sister, Delanora Bowley Tucker, is the great niece of Harriet Tubman. She is here at First Baptist today. Wave your hand, stand. Sister Delanora Bowley Tucker was born in Clarksville, Tennessee on August 14, 1939. Sister Tucker attended elementary school in Port Royal in Clarksville, Tennessee, and graduated from Ansonia High in Connecticut in 1953. After she graduated from high school, Sister Tucker and her husband, William Tucker Sr., who she met at 16 years old and married in 1952. They have 4 children: Linda, William Jr., Tracy, and the late Clark Tucker. She has 6 grandchildren and 8 great-great-grandchildren. Sister Tucker held various jobs until she became employed at General Dynamics Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut in 1973, where she was the first female security officer. She retired in 2002. Sister Tucker is also a founding member of Christian Tabernacle Church in Hamden, Connecticut. She was a member there for 30 years. After leaving Christian Tabernacle, she visited different churches, and in 2001, she decided to become a member of First Baptist. Not only is she a member of First Baptist, she has a grandson and 2 granddaughters that are also members. During my interview with Sister Tucker, I asked her, how was information about Harriet Tubman revealed to her? She told me by family elders. And you know, when you attend family reunions, you have to sit with the elders, and in this case, it was Aunt Bernice, and they would tell us family history. Sometimes you would overhear things when the grown folks were talking. Sister Tucker told me family reunions were held in different states, but many were held in Chester, Pennsylvania, where a cousin owned property. In Dorchester County, Maryland, March 10th is Harriet Tubman Day. I asked her if she was ever down there to celebrate. She said she has been to the visitor center, but it has been a while and things have changed since then. I also asked if she has ever visited the Harriet Tubman House in Auburn, New York. She says she has not, but would love to go. Maybe that could be a day trip First Baptist could possibly plan. When the Civil War began, Harriet worked for the Union Army, first as a cook and nurse, and then as an armed scout spy. She was the first woman to lead an armed expedition in the war. After the war, she returned to the family home on property that she had purchased in Auburn, New York, where she cared for her aging parents. On March 18, 1869, she married Nelson Charles Davis, and they adopted a baby girl named Gertie. She was active in the women's suffrage movement until she had to be admitted to a home for elderly African Americans that she had helped establish years earlier. She died of pneumonia on March 10, 1913. Just before her death, she said, "I go to prepare a place for you." Harriet Tubman Davis was buried with semi-military honors at the Fort Hill Cemetery in Auburn, New York. She became an icon of courage and freedom. Harriet Tubman has had many honors and commemorations bestowed upon her, but the most eminent happened April 20th, 2016. Then the U.S. Secretary Jack Lew announced plans to add a portrait of Tubman to the front of the $20 bill. However, that action was delayed in 2017. In 2021, under the Biden administration, the Treasury Department resumed the effort to add Tubman's portrait to the front of the $20 bill and hoped to expedite this process. Finally, when speaking with Sister Tucker, I asked her how she felt about being related to a historical figure. She said, "Honored." She is learning new information every day due to technology about Aunt Harriet and the family. Sister Tucker said she and her father never met Aunt Harriet because her father was a young man when she passed away, and traveling was difficult for African Americans back then. Aunt Harriet was deceased when Sister Tucker was born. This is why it's important for families to continue to pass down family history and for the younger generation to spend time with the elders of the family so we will know our true Black heritage. Thank you.